Vernomatic Productions.
Are you ready?
Live from the Metal Mayhem Studios in Rochester, New York.
We are gold. We are gold.
And heard around the world by metalheads just like you. This is Metal Mayhem ROC.
Heavy metal music.
Your weekly dose of metal music, interviews, album reviews, news, and more. Want to be part of the show? Send us a message through our website, metalmayhemroc.com, or hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. Search Metal Mayhem ROC, a proud member of the Pantheon podcast team.
It's getting nice and heavy.
Now, welcome our hosts, John the Vernomatic Verno, and direct from New Jersey, Metal Walt.
Good evening, everybody. As always, new content drops Thursday nights. As we say goodbye to Rocktober and hello to November, the holiday season's here, and we're thankful for new music. Tonight, Metal Walt welcomes Justin Roth, guitarist of Cincinnati thrashers War Curse. Well, War Curse just released their new album, Confession, on Metal Blade Records. This is a terrific blend of old school thrash with new school aggression. Justin and Walt discuss the evolution of the band, why Justin feels 2023, the band is right where they want to be, and he even shares a story about how they got their name War Curse. It's a cool story. That's coming up in just a second. But first, if you're new to the show via Pantheon Music Podcast Group or our YouTube channel or any other means, welcome to the club and let's join the community. Get up to the metalmayhemroc.com website, sign up for our newsletter. That's our way to stay in touch with you with alerts about our live radio show on Monday nights, any podcast episodes, any new YouTube clips and interviews we have on our channel, CD reviews. It's all up on the metalmayhemroc.com website. Recent audio podcasts we had last week, JJ Brown, A Fight, Sarah Thungle a couple weeks ago. Let's see, we have Rick Emmett from Triumph, Tommy Victor of Prong, Udo. All of that's up on our website. So get up there, sign up for the newsletter, and join our community. So let's get into tonight's episode, Metal Walt and Justin Roth of War Curse. I'm the Vernomatic. This is Metal Mayhem ROC.
On today's episode, I'm joined by Justin Roth, guitarist of Ohio-based thrash band War Curse. Justin is here to talk about the band's brand new album, Confession, a killer album. So, Justin, welcome to Metal Mayhem ROC.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
So, you guys are Ohio-based, correct?
We are. Yep. We're kind of scattered out in like southern Ohio. I'm technically in Newport, Kentucky. Like, I can see downtown Cincinnati from my window.
Okay.
Ohio area.
Yeah. I mean, Ohio's a big state. I've been there many times before, and it depends. I mean, my only recollection of metal in Ohio is speaking to Tim Ripper Owens out of Akron. He's on the East Coast.
Yep.
How's the metal scene in general in Ohio?
It's good, man. There's a lot of really talented bands here. I think people are starting to pay a lot more attention to this area. But death metal scene's real good. Not so much of a thrash metal scene, but there are some good thrash metal bands in the area. Cleveland's doing pretty well. So yeah, I would say Ohio's healthy.
Yeah.
Healthy.
And
It's not California, but whatever.
Right. I just happened to be looking at my phone today, and Kiss starts their actual farewell tour, their farewell tour tonight in Cincinnati.
Cool. I hope they spell our name wrong again. That'd be sweet.
What's that story about?
You remember the Kiss shirt that sells for a bunch of money that Cincinnati spelled wrong on the back? I don't know. They fetch like $1,000 on eBay. It's funny.
Ah, okay. I didn't know that one. That's a little metal history there. So
there you go.
Cool. So I see you guys are signed to Metal Blade, and that's a big accomplishment of itself. Got any good Brian Slegel stories?
Not that I'm going to tell on here. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, come on, give us one.
I don't want to get dropped already. I'll just say I got yelled at for something I said on Twitter a while back and had to apologize. I'll leave it at that.
Well, how I know you guys have a couple of albums out in the past. You have Final Days in 2015 and Eradication in 2019. When did you actually get signed to Metal Blade?
We had started talking with them. We were actually talking to them about putting out Eradication and we were unable to get a deal done for that album. So we were kind of on and off having discussions from like 2019 forward, and then during the pandemic. So I think we actually signed a deal with them in like 2020. So
Okay.
Writing process took a little while. Of course, the world was closed, so it took a while to get into a studio, and then you have another 10 months while you got to wait for your vinyl to be made. So yeah, this album's been a long time coming.
Yeah. And going back a little bit into the history, like the band name War Curse, like where did that name come from? What's the meaning behind it?
It's actually a Creator song. If you know the band Creator from Germany.
Yes, I do.
We originally had a different name that we found out was taken by another band, and we had a show coming up. This is like going all the way back to like the basement years, like before anything had ever happened. And we needed a new band name the night before a show, and I don't know, I was listening to that album in the car, and Workhurst sounded cool, and I think it's kind of fitting for what we do, so worked out. Kind of stole that from Creator.
That's awesome. Actually, it's funny. Creator does have a long history in the thrash scene, or German band. I live in New Jersey and New York. There's shows going back to, they played Lemoore in '86, believe it or not, in Brooklyn. But my co-host and I, we saw King Diamond and Creator. It was a little under a year ago. It was November of last year. Actually, not King Diamond. It was Merciful Fate. At Creator Open, it was the first time I've seen them, and I feel like I've seen everybody. I got to tell you, Justin, man, they tore that place down. It was sick. Really, really cool show.
Man. Yeah, my brother decided to get married the night of that tour, man. It was a tough call, like pissed the entire family or go see Creator. So I probably should have went and saw Creator, but yeah, hindsight and all that.
As long as he has a nice, long, lengthy, happy marriage, if it doesn't work out in the long run, then you're going to remind you that someday.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was cool, man. I met Millie Petroza, the singer, guitar player of Creator. I met him. I think we were at like Download Madrid, and I gave him a guitar pick, and it was like a total nerdy thing. But he looked at it, he saw it, he loved it. So got the sign off from the man himself. So I don't feel so bad about stealing the name.
That's incredible. So again, maybe I was kind of new to War Curse, and your press publicist Liz. We do a lot of work together with her, and she's always passing things over to us that. She says, hey, you guys should check out this band. This is right in your wheelhouse. And when I took a listen to the new album, first time I listened to it, I said, all right, there's something here. Second time, all right, I'm liking this. By third or fourth time, I'm like, this is fucking killer. But, you guys have a old style thrash sound, definitely to it. You hate to kind of reference other bands' names, but then you go on your website and you guys do mention it. You say you're kind of Bay Area thrash 90s sound with that new aggression sound. So maybe what sound do you describe your band as?
I don't know. That's probably a remnant from the past, that quote there. But yeah, we, our first couple albums, I think, do sound very kind of classic Bay Area, Death Angel, Testament sort of stuff. Yeah, that's the stuff that I grew up listening to, so it makes sense. With this album, we really tried to bring in more influence and let the music come together organically without necessarily trying to cram it into a box. I think a lot of metal and a lot of metal fans, they get so obsessed with like subgenres and put things into nice, neat little categories. And, to me, I think some of the more interesting bands out in the world right now are the bands that you kind of have a tough time stuffing into a box. Like Gojira being a good example, or Silosis. The bands that excite me, I guess, are the bands whose music you actually have to describe. If somebody says, what do they sound like? You can't just say like, thrash metal or death metal. You have to really say what it sounds like, and really kind of dig into it a little bit. So I wanted to get away from intentionally writing thrash metal for the sake of writing thrash metal. I don't think that's ever what we set out to do in the first place. Yeah. And letting Blaine be himself and contribute vocally, the way he wanted to, and I just think, I don't know, it's something different. It's kind of like heavy metal. It's got some thrash metal in there. It's got some groove metal in there. It's got a whole bunch of stuff in there. So whatever people want to call it, it's cool. It's cool with me.
Well, yeah, like I said, we're going to do a deep dive into the album in a little while. But again, I want to finish off on your back history. So again, you guys been together a while. You put the albums out, again, Final Days and Eradication. What I find is really cool about your band is you guys really do the artwork up well. And the covers of both of the albums, the plane going over the building, the other one where the bird kind of sitting out there, and even the single Serpent and Sands of Fate. Really, really good artwork. So, what's your story behind emphasizing of the artwork?
I'm a graphic designer by trade, so I'm kind of a nerd for that stuff. I've done like half of the album covers, and the other half were done by a friend of mine. He goes by Maggot Meister. That's his art name. But I did Confession, so that one's mine, the new one. Eradication was something that I had put together and Maggot Meister finished up. Final Days was mine. Serpent was mine. Sands was his. But yeah, so I mean, it's like a lot of that stuff is just. I think that the visuals have to match the music, and I do put a decent amount of thought into the album covers. So I mean, I thought that Eradication, although kind of a basic album cover, I liked it. It was striking. It was something different. It kind of told the tale of, humanity ending, and the only thing being left was that single, solitary bird in the middle of the ocean, kind of holding on for dear life. I guess you could say the flood came and wiped us out. But yeah, I mean, Confession. I really love that album cover. I don't know. I'm just a nerd for that stuff, man. I collect rock posters and design books, and yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty obsessed with artwork.
Well, it shows, right? And it's important, but it also builds your brand, and I'm with you because, again, we look at a lot of albums, a lot of art, bands, and it's weird in 2023, going into 2024. It's really important because I'm sure you guys know it's hard to get out there, sell albums, and everything is around merch and bundle packages and vinyl. And I see that you guys have it all, and the artwork ties in because it ties in with the album and the themes of the songs. And you could put the different vinyl colors out, and you could sell the shirts and the patches and the stickers. So it's a lot about merchandising, but getting into the new album, Confession, I mean, that cover in and of itself. And I wanted you to describe it, but I think there's something going on. I don't know if it's a concept album but there's a common theme with the songs and there's a storyline in there. And I think it links back when you look at the cover art, it's the priest. I think it's the priest not facing the camera, and he's looking down, and it appears he's praying, and he's looking against the cross. So talk a little bit about, let's say, the storyline of the album, the artwork, and then let's get into the tracks.
So you were close. And if you listen to the title track, Confession, which I know you have, but it's I concocted the story in my mind about so the song itself is about what I call the confession loophole. I think in Catholicism, there's this ridiculous idea that you can pretty much do whatever you want your entire life. You can be a total piece of shit human being. I can cuss on you, right?
Yes.
Sweet. Yeah, but you can rape, you can murder, you can do all this other shit. And as long as you confess your sins, ask for forgiveness, accept Jesus Christ into your life, whatever the fuck that means, all's forgiven, you go to heaven. Ignore all the terrible atrocities you've committed your entire life. So the title track is about that. It's about a guy who allows that loophole to enable his action. He goes out and he does these horrible things, and then he goes and confesses his sins, and he's right back out on the street doing them again. So the album cover, that's my guy. That's the guy that's going out doing the killing. That's my serial killer. And I think it's cool that he's in a suit. Not all killers are scary people in the woods. Some of them are hide in plain sight. But the little hash marks on the wall, that was I kind of thought of that as like his body count, like wrote his little bloody finger. The axe was kind of like a Easter egg. If you flip the album over, the Metal Blade axe logo is like the same orientation, same spot. So it's kind of like my little Easter egg for Metal Blade, but also like the weapon the guy was using to go out and chop people up. So yeah, that was a really, really fun album cover to make. Got way into that one.
And awesome description of it, and I'm glad I was close. But the song itself, I mean, that's an epic track to me. It's like a really dark opening. It's got that bass percussion thing, and then it explodes. It's fast. There's like signature changes in it, and a really melodic chorus, and just the line, I enjoy knowing I make them bleed. Do you forgive me? I get a brand new slate. So epic track, Justin. Yeah. So going back to the top of the album, the Nothing That Is Me, right? Killer track. I think what's really important about this track is the open. You got the the single guitar, the unplugged sound, then it goes into the twin work. It's really melodic, and then it's just like, it's going to explode, and it does. And that lyric, give sight to me through the eyes, I'll see me, look down on me. So talk about that first track.
I'm glad you liked the intro. That was one of the cooler things that me and Blaine wrote together. Blaine being the vocalist, amazing guitar player, amazing musician all around. And we wrote that song one day. I mean, I think it's like a rainy day, nothing to do, and we were kind of just holed up in his studio. And we wrote that thing almost start to finish in like one sitting. But I really do love that as an opening track, and I'm glad that you appreciated the musicality there. The lyrics, that song is it's one that I don't like to talk about a whole lot, to be honest with you, because some people are still, as crazy as it is, they're still so divided on this whole thing. That was just about the amount of people that I watched lose their entire identities during the pandemic. I mean, people who just, they couldn't possibly beg for more authority if they tried. People who, you're wearing 3 masks in your car, you're getting 37 vaccines and you're still afraid to leave your house. They just let the messaging was almost too strong. The fear mongering and the social engineering was it was too powerful. And there's some people that are never going to recover from it. So those are people that just watched themselves disappear. They lost their sense of purpose. A lot of people lost their livelihoods. A lot of people disconnected themselves from friends and family who disagreed with them on certain things. It was just people who isolated themselves from the entire world. And to me, they just became nothing. It was just take my life away, lock me in a fucking room, tell me when it's okay to come out. And it was really sad to watch that happen with so many people that I knew that, weren't authoritarians before that happened. So that was kind of the backdrop for that song. Again, not a pleasant one to discuss, but that's what I wrote it about.
No, and that's something I got to be honest with you, Justin. I appreciate a good lyric, and I think your songs, not only the music, the heaviness, the diversity of it, but they're really thought-provoking lyrics. Like, they're serious. You got to think them through, and they're very relatable to anything and anybody that, going through life. And that's the sign of maturity. Maturity is a band and songwriting. So I thank you for opening up on that one. And there's a lot of that stuff on the album. I mean, you think about, like, again, the title track. How about the second song, Fortress of Agony? Behind the walls, to silence the screams, away from my eyes where no one will see without an ounce of humanity.
Yeah, I mean that was actually a difficult song to write. I wrote that song like so many people. I'm absolutely perplexed that nobody other than Ghislaine Maxwell's in jail over this entire Jeffrey Epstein thing. Yeah. And when you look at the amount of children every year that are sex trafficked, that are, ripped from their homes and, thrown into these dark fortresses of fucking agony, that's how I see it. I wrote that song about those kids, and I kind of, at first, I hoped that might be a single and maybe would be used to, maybe shed some light on it. Not that it needs more. I think it's commonly talked about, but amazingly, it still happens every day. So yeah, it was kind of written from the point of view of somebody who's, ripped from their home and thrown into this horrible existence, So
yeah, it's
kind of a heavy song. I'm sorry to bring the mood so far down, but you asked,
No. And you know what? And the stuff is heavy on the album, and that's okay, right? That's the reality of the world we live in. I mean, Come on. I mean, what are you going to go back to the 80s and talk about, banging somebody in the back of a Camaro? Come on. I mean, those days are, maybe they're not over, but that's not what 2023 is.
Hey, Metal Walt, maybe 2024 we could have a little bit of a blast from the past and enjoy some of those good times. Hey, listen, if you're enjoying what you're listening to, do us a favor, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this. And I encourage you to get up to metalmayhemroc.com, join our community by signing up for our weekly newsletter. We'll be right back as Metal Walt and Justin Roth of War Curse will talk about the new singles from the album Confession.
I'm Metalhead.
Metal Mayhem ROC is the home for metal from the very beginnings.
This is James DeBrett from Hellstar. You're listening to Burnomatic.
Dave Overkill from the Cleveland band Destructor. Hey, Dave, how are you?
I'm doing great.
To longtime headliners.
Hey, this is Red Beach from Whitesnake.
Hey, this is Vinny Appice from Dio, Black Sabbath, and Last in Line.
To music of today.
Hi, this is Olaf Wickstrand from Enforcer.
Hi, this is Brian from Mastodon.
You're listening to Metal Mayhem ROC.
With John the Vernomatic Burner.
Plus, we talk with producers and authors to give you behind-the-scenes info.
Hi, this is William Merwin, author of The Meaning of Metallica, Ride the Lyrics.
Greg Renoff, the author of the book Van Halen Rising and the Ted Templeman book, A Platinum Producer's Life in Music.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Metal Mayhem ROC, a proud member of the Pantheon podcast team, giving you more to listen for. Join our community, and always remember to keep it heavy.
You have a couple videos out on YouTube. The Convoy was your promo video, the one with the cool truck in the front, and the other one, Miracle Broker. Now, both of those, what I like about both of those is, they're a little catchier, they're a little more melodic. What I think is nice about both of those tracks is the riffs are, they're kind of simple and repeated riffs, but they allow, let's say, Blaine to come into the spotlight, and you hear the songwriting and the singing and the message of the song get across better. It's not buried in the music. But, obviously on the topic, and I did watch the YouTube video yesterday of Miracle Broker, and what's buried at the bottom, if you don't look close enough, is you adding your comment, your perspective in the little message below. So I know this one's another one that probably hits your nerve, but maybe talk a little bit about Miracle Broker and Organized Religion and the Convoy.
Yeah, so there was, like you said earlier, there's kind of a reoccurring theme throughout the album. Confession being kind of the obvious one in the title track, but Miracle Broker tied into it, as did Return to Dust, which was that's a quote just ripped straight from the Bible and used as a backdrop for a different kind of situation. But with Miracle Broker, you can have fun with some of the shit. It doesn't have to be deadly serious all the time. Growing up, my grandma watched, what was it called? The 700 Club? I think. Yeah. And you'd see this goofy shit, paraplegics hopping out of wheelchairs and blind men that can see all of a sudden and all this crazy shit. So, in a modern day context, you've got the Joel Osteens of the world and the Kenneth Copelands and these mega church, mega crazy millionaires. They might be billionaires for all I know, but, they don't give a goddamn thing back to the people that give them money. They're just grifters. And, they're kind of selling snake oil to fools. If you buy into the shit, I guess maybe you deserve to be taken for a ride. But I wanted to have a little fun and talk about those people. So, the term Miracle Broker, that was the title that I had in my phone for a couple years. And I always wanted to get around to write a song about that. And it's these people just, they're selling fake miracles. It's ridiculous. So. I had a little fun with that. I had a lot of fun making that video. I thought that was a pretty cool track.
It is, and it's fun how how you kind of interface. Like I like how there's like some fire burning, and then you have all these like backdrops of these religious leaders and people fainting at the altar, and they're kind of blended in with Blaine. It's very, very well done video. Very creative.
Thank you. Yeah, hats off to so Brian Thornburn, or Bone as we call him. He's actually the guy that engineered the first two albums. He's one of those crazy talented guys that can do everything, but he recorded, mixed and mastered the first couple albums, and then also did the music video for Serpent and for that. So he's just kind of our go-to guy to get things done. And he's badass at making videos. So we gave him a very loose concept and he ran with it. So great job, Bone.
Yeah, it's a good one. Talking a little bit about the song, The Convoy, it's one of those we the people, we have to stand up for what's right and, all for one for all. But is there something specific behind that one you're getting at?
Yeah, it kind of throws back to the first song a little bit. And there was a little bit of bickering when this one came out. It's to be expected, when you finally got a little bit of attention on you or a spotlight on you. People kind of took that as complaining about masks and vaccines. It was nothing about that. It was about this. There's no circumstance I can think of where it's okay for a government to shut down the bank accounts of private citizens, especially over a protest. So, the Freedom Convoy, the whole thing that happened in Canada, to me, that was just absolutely terrifying. And, the people who are okay with it now, they're only okay with it now because it's the opposite side of the conversation that's being victimized, but they wouldn't be okay with it if it was their side, if it was one of their protests, and next thing you know, your bank account's zapped, and you can't afford to feed your family, or your money's gone, or, you donated to a cause and they shut your bank account down. That is gross, unchecked authority that we have never seen in our lifetime. And that's Blaine actually wrote the lyrics to that one. I write most of the lyrics. He wrote the lyrics for that, and I just sort of massaged it, and we made a cool song out of it. But that's what that was about, man. Just about just gross abuse of power.
Yeah.
Yep. I think Justin Trudeau should be buried under the fucking jail, to be honest with you. That guy's a piece of shit.
Well, you know what? That's what you get when you live in a socialist country, right? Everybody thinks it's better somewhere else.
Yep.
Go ahead, give it a shot, right?
Yeah.
Give it a shot. I was going to say,
I got loads of Canadian friends. Our longtime publicist, Curtis Dewar, he's Canadian. I got friends all over Canada, all over the Canadian map, and they all hate the guy. So I'm not, I don't think I'm at risk of pissing anybody off here. It seems like a general consensus up there. They don't like him any more than we like our guy. So fuck it.
I tell you, go out and check out Prong's new album, State of Emergency. We had Tommy Victor on our show recently. I think, knowing the kind of guy you are, Justin, sink your teeth into that album. You'll appreciate it and relate to it.
We've got some mutual friends. We've had some conversations about that. Yeah.
Okay.
He's cool dude. Yeah.
He's a good guy. That's awesome. So going back to, let's say, the music on some of the songs, you mentioned Return to Dust. From a musical point of view, I love this fucking song because it's heavy. Oh, yeah. The cymbals, the double bass, there's a groove to it, and the end is just and it's just like, and then that line, cut the head from the snake and watch it die. No more, I've severed the ties. It's fucking killer song. That one, like, you could really jam to. And then Power of the Powerless. I mean, I hear a little bit of Chuck Billy in the vocal there. Let's not lie, and it's okay. It's a great thing. He's a legend. Again, another really good, diverse, strong songs. So talk a little bit about those tracks.
Well, so I guess we'll start with Power of the Powerless. I love that song. Love it. And the working title of that song is Killdozer. And we wrote that about Merv Heemeyer, the guy that built the Killdozer. Yeah. So I was, I'm not saying, you get mad, you get, bulldoze half your town, but it's pretty fucking badass that he did it, and the guy's a legend for it. But so that was kind of the lyrical theme there anyway. The swan song of a desperate man, not what I wanted, but you forced my hand. I feel like they backed that poor guy to a corner to the point where he just had to fight his way out, man. And what was the other one we were just talking about?
Return to Dust. Return
to Dust. Yeah, Return to Dust. What I loved about that song, musically, that thing was just a riff fest. Like, as a guitar player, that's probably the wankiest song on the album as far as just trying to cram 800 riffs into a song. And it's a little more akin to, like, the first two albums. So more of a thrasher, definitely a little faster, really fun to play musically. That song, so I tied it to the biblical thing because I don't want to write a song about, what it was actually written about. But it was just about like a shitty situation you find yourself in with another individual, and some of the backstabbing that happens, and no better way to frame a good betrayal than like Adam and Eve, the snake, the deception, kicked out of the Garden of Eden sort of thing. When you're already writing an album full of biblical references, so why the hell not throw another one in there? Yeah. But just a banger of a song, man. Super fun song to play.
It is. It definitely is. There's a cover on the album later, and you know what? Not everybody's going to know who Grip Incorporated is. I followed those guys in my 20s, Gus Chambers, the late Gus Chambers, of course, Dave Lombardo. And when I saw that pop up that you guys were going to do a cover of a Grip song, I said, wow, that's fucking cool. So why did you choose to do that?
So if you remember Grip, their first bass player, the founding bass player, was Jason Vibrooks. He plays in Exhorter currently. He was in Heathen for a while, but Jason was the bass player on Eradication. So our previous bass player was the bass player of Grip Inc. with Dave Lombardo. So we had talked about doing a cover while he was in the band. We never got around to doing it. Murphy and myself, we're kind of like, we're born in the 80s, but we're kids of the 90s, and like Grip Inc. It's sad that more people don't know that band. The band's fucking awesome.
Oh, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at like what other I don't know what we'd call them, groove metal. I hate subgenres, but if you want to call them like groove metal, I think they were arguably like the best of all those bands kind of that era. So, just being big fans and wanting to give Jason kind of like a thank you, a send off, pay a little tribute to our buddy. Yeah, it's a fucking cool song. Gus is an amazing vocalist. So, we knew if we did it, Blaine had to bring his A game. We all had to bring our A game. Valdemar writes really quirky, kind of goofy riffs, so it's something a little different, something really fun. But, the guys have heard it, they gave us the seal of approval, but I just really hope that, fans know that we definitely tried our best to do it justice. So very fun covering Grip.
I mean, and not there's like a popular Grip song or something, but you didn't go for the obvious song, right? You went for something a little bit deeper on an album, and which is cool too, Well,
I think like the popular songs would have probably been like Ostracized was a hit. Hostage of Heaven was already covered by our friends in Exhumer, also a Metal Blade band. So yeah, I don't know. Rusty Nail just seemed like a good heavy banger. It's got the big crazy drum fills in it, and James, our drummer, he's a pretty big Dave Lombardo fanboy, so I think he had a lot of fun learning those fills and stuff. So yeah, it just a cool song and an unexpected cover. I think if you what's the point in doing a cover if everybody expects it? I'm not going to fucking record a cover of Creeping Death or anything. I don't know, something a little different.
We had I had Mark Zavon from Kill Devil Hill on a few weeks ago, and on their new album, great new album, they covered Black Sabbath's Solitude, and which again, great song, but it's just him and Dewey Bragg, the singer. And he said the reason they did it was because they were bored during the pandemic. They were over each other's houses. They didn't see anybody, and they said, what better of a track than to do than Solitude? Right.
Yeah.
So you're right.
Perfect. Yeah, we did Anthrax only during the pandemic. That was our Slay at Home contribution.
I was going to ask you about that. Great version, by the way, and I love the performance. And I think it actually was put out as a single on Metal Blade, correct?
Yeah, we did that. Like, we did it as the Slay at Home thing. So, the audio wasn't the best, and but the reception was really good. Like, everybody loved it. The Anthrax dudes really liked it, which I thought was cool as shit. And it started getting a little attention. So we cleaned it up a little bit and like put in like the backing vocals, the shit that we couldn't do live. So we just went and finished it up. Metal Blade wanted to put it out, and yeah, man, it was cool. It started getting played on satellite radio, and I'm going to take credit for it. Anthrax hadn't played that song live in a really long time. That thing started getting played on satellite radio with our cover back to back with their version of it. And next thing you know, it's back in the set. So I think we kind of brought that one back from the dead a little bit, man. And that's John Bush Hair Anthrax is awesome. So that was a fucking fun one to do.
Oh, yeah, totally agree with you. Jose Mangan on Liquid Metal and XM, he goes deep. He grabs bands like you guys all the time and pulls them out. So It's good to hear you got the credit you deserve. So, listen, Justin, we're going to let you go soon, but I wanted to allow you to cover off on the rest of the band. I didn't get a chance to, who are the other band members aside from you, Blaine and Murph?
Yeah. So, Johnny Wallace is our bassist. Man, my mind just went short here. Got 100 things going on today. Yeah, you had already mentioned Murphy. So Joshua Murphy, lead guitarist. Blaine Gordon, vocalist. James Gatz, drummer. So those are my hooligans. I'm Justin, of course. The album is called Confession. It comes out October 20th on Metal Blade Records. Available pretty much anywhere you buy or stream music. I would suggest going to your local record store and requesting a copy of it. But
And what about touring? I see that you did do a show this past weekend, Gates of Metal. Is it something like called Gates of Metal?
We actually didn't play that show.
Okay.
That dude was supposed to take us off of that poster forever ago. It didn't, but we had another tour lined up that was going through California that got rescheduled, got moved around. So we actually go out starting November 1st. We'll be on the road with a band called Arm for Apocalypse. Cool band on Candlelight Records. That tour starts in Sacramento, kind of runs down the coast, does the whole California thing, touches some other cities, goes into Canada. We'll see if Justin Trudeau lets me in after what I just said about him. But yeah, so you can catch us on the West Coast, Canada, the first half of November, and then we'll be back. We'll be all over the map next year, early next year.
Yeah, I would love to see you guys in Jersey and New York. There's, as you know, there's some great metal bars in Brooklyn, the city, and Jersey. So I'm sure you'll roll through this way again.
We've been up there a handful of times. You know, we always have good shows up there. I was actually just talking to somebody right before we hopped on here about we played St. Vitus with Exo, and Yeah, it was just a badass show. But yeah, we need to get back up there, man. Now I think that was the last time we played New York was that show. And I think it was like 2018 or 19. So we're well overdue to come back up there.
Yeah, that is the place to go for like small metal bars. I mean, I'm actually thinking of going there this Saturday. Canadian band Exciter's playing there.
Oh, yeah.
It's not easy to get to. It's like, it's 20 miles away, but it could take you an hour and a half. But at the same token, and there's a place in Jersey similar to that called Dingbats. So if you ever come that way, look up Dingbats, and I'm sure they could book you to come. It'd be great to have you there.
Absolutely, man. We're ready to go anywhere and everywhere. So
yeah,
you'll definitely see us up there.
Okay, so the new album Confession, it's out October 20th, tour dates to come. Justin, what are your socials? Where can our listeners find out all about the band?
Now, we're on Facebook, Instagram all the time. We have a Twitter. We suck at using it. Warcurse.com. That'll link you to all the stuff we're doing. Check it out on Metal Blade's website. You can find the album pretty much anywhere, and you can stream us on all your usual platforms. So if it's on the internet, we're probably there.
Well, again, I wish you the best with this album. It is great. I say that with all sincerity. I've been spinning it all week. Can't wait to share it with our listeners and get my friends to listen to it. And, best of luck. And we'll see you down the line, and we'll have you back on again.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's been a good time.
All right, Justin. Thank you. All the best. Keep it fucking heavy, bro.
Metal for life.
Thank you for listening to Metal Mayhem ROC. Check out our website at metalmayhemroc.com for information on podcasts, archives, links to all our live radio shows, and all sorts of info. Please like, follow, and share with everyone, even your non-metal friends. And always remember to keep it heavy.